Most of us were literally never taught how much intuition and culture shapes our lives. So for me, as I have been behind the scenes making drastic changes in the brand and in the business, and if you're following us on Facebook, you know what I'm talking about. So hop on over there and join our Calcinatio page. You can also find it on IG. In order to share my thoughts on this, I'm committing myself to an entire year of showing up daily. Now, why that matters for me and why I'm telling you this before I dive into the topic. If you've been rocking with me since, I'm not even going to say the early days, but for a while, then you know that in 2017, I did 30 days live on the Healing One page. That was literally life-changing for me. Those of you that have been with me since that time or before that time, you saw me go through all the emotions of grief. When my dad died, I stayed focused. I obviously took time to deal with that and go through that process, but I still shared that journey in those 30 days. And even today, for people that still have access to those recordings, I still hear how it changed your relationship with your dad, men and women, how it changed your relationship with your kids. It was such a deep level of vulnerability for me that it brought up a lot, because I had never revealed that much of myself in that kind of way before. And then fast forward, I think it was maybe 21 or 22. I didn't go visually live every day, but I committed myself to trying to show up and engage almost every day for an entire year. And I did mostly long form written posts. And I shared a lot again of my healing journey, designing the soul, nourishing shipment, tongue-tied. I shared a lot of my healing journey. I shared a lot of the process as I was designing the soul nourishing mentorship, and just the things that I was experiencing as I was going through the pandemic, both as a healer and as myself, right? And one of the biggest lessons that I have had to deepen for myself and experience, and that I've shared with so many of you, has been nourishing my intuition. Because when you're going through medical crises, when the world feels like it's on fire, you know, when life is lifing as it tends to do, your intuition is one of the first things that can feel like it's suffering. It's one of the first things that can feel like it's getting knocked off kilter. And when that is not fully functioning the way that you need it to, it kind of tilts everything else in your world onto its side. Might even knock you on your back and feel like you're flailing. And so my intention for the next year is to talk to you about intention and culture. Why I feel like it's so powerful, not only for everyday life, but in the corporate side of what I do with workshops and trainings, in the relationship side of what I do in my own life with my own people, in the coaching that I do, in the mentoring that I do, literally every facet of life. Now, we don't often hear intuition and culture together. I am convinced you cannot have one without the other. To start off talking about what intuition really is, I think is the main point. You can't go any further unless you know that for yourself. And I'm not going to say that it's woo. I know a lot of the times over the past decade, especially, those two have been linked together. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with being woo-woo, witchy, spiritual, or any of the above. But we have to recognize that our intuition is not solely this thing that operates just in our spiritual self or when we're feeling especially magical. It is literally our body's wisdom, our psyche, our spirit, our mind, all converging together in order to create this insight, this clarity, if you will, right? I also like to say that it's your internal GPS. It's your internal compass. It is literally your survival strategy. No matter who you are, where you are, what you have access to, what you don't have access to. If you can develop your intuition, you got gold in your hands and in your pockets. What my intuition has done for me, again, for those of you that may be new to me, has literally saved my life. If you've heard my story or haven't heard my story of 2020, February, when I was walking around with a ruptured appendix and did not know it. Long story shortened, you know, they missed it multiple times at the doctor's office and at an ER. And I woke up every day and laid hands on myself doing womb healing and energy healing. I woke up every day talking to my team saying, help me stay alive until we get this figured out, whatever this is, because I knew that something wasn't right by that point. And I think it was February 12th. I called a friend of mine and we went to a different emergency room. I'm going to leave that there for now. And they saved my life. And the doctor literally told me, had I not come in that day, I probably would have died at home on the floor. And that was something that I recognized. I woke up that morning feeling like something was different, something was drastically wrong, and I had to get it figured out. So my intuition kept me focused. It kept me getting up every day to figure out. It kept me pouring into myself on a spiritual level, an energetic level. It kept me alive. Now, I want you to ask yourself in this moment, what has your intuition done for you? Okay? Because it's likely that a lot of you listening to this have felt silenced. You have felt conditioned. You have heard the external noise of everybody else's voices, everybody else's shit, everybody else's drama, everybody else's fear, their family dynamics, their stuff that was poured into them by their people, whether it is your community, your job, or your family. And that noise can get so loud that it can make you feel like your intuition isn't functioning. And that's not true. Sometimes it just gets deafened by all the other stuff, and you've got to learn how to silence those things. Here's the big truth that I want you to recognize. Ignoring your intuition is literally what can lead to you feeling burned out, feeling regret, feeling misalignment, literally feeling like you don't matter, that no one cares. It can make you feel as if you're too far behind, as if you'll never catch up. And it's likely the culprit behind a lot of the negative or painful experiences that you may have been in. Sit with that for a minute. I know. Now, let's go ahead and talk about culture. Culture isn't just for corporations. It isn't just about religion or race or ethnicity. It is about how you choose to live. So culture is the dynamic in your friendships, in your communities, in your families, in your romantic relationships, or with your besties, with your kids or your parents, with your neighbors or the people that you engage with in the grocery store. Now, y'all know, again, if you've been rocking with me for a while, you know that I describe relationship as any ongoing engagement and activity with a person or people. So you in a whole relationship with your UPS or your Amazon driver or your FedEx driver or the cashier at the grocery store that you got to go through their line every time, or your favorite person at the post office, or anybody else that you are talking to and engaging with on a regular basis. Because a lot of people think relationship in terms of romance, but it's so much bigger than that. Relationship governs every aspect of our life. And your relationships are guided by the culture that you either intentionally or unintentionally create and align yourself with. Your culture is also part of your belief systems, okay? In business, the culture is going to set the tone for how everybody interacts and engages. Whether it's the clients, whether it's the employees, whether it's the leaders, your culture is going to determine how you either thrive or suffer. So those of you that are a part of my community and you have a small business or a business, you're an entrepreneur, if things aren't going the way that you want, check your intuition and your culture. For those of you who are my corporate clients and you might by chance may listen to this, depending on the platform we're connected on, you know, we've had these conversations. And if things aren't going the way that you want, it is likely the culture. I cannot stress this enough. This is literally part of the foundation of every training that I teach. Wellness and internal culture. Okay? In your personal life, your personal culture is what people feel when they are around you. Do they feel safe? Do they feel interrupted or rigid? Do they feel nervous, unheard, unseen? How you treat people, how you engage with them is part of your culture. Now, with those two things in mind, I want you to consider the bridge between the two. You can think of it like this. Your intuition guides what kind of culture you create, and your culture reinforces whether intuition is being honored or ignored. Now, at this point, you may just want to go ahead and pause and sit with it, because I know some of you are like, but there are others that get it right away. And if you're kind of in the middle, it's all good. Rock with it in whatever way makes sense for you. Now, what that can look like in real life is, let's say the workplace, for examples. So many of us have been a part of a workplace. We've had a job, we've had a career, whatever, and they ignored us and we ignored our intuition. That all the time, like literally 99.99999% of the time, if not 100% of the time, is going to lead to you feeling disgruntled, unappreciated, mad, angry, rage-filled, like you're wasting your time, like you're unseen, unvalued, and everything in between. That's going to look like toxic culture as another example. The people that are always backbiting and gossiping. The people that are always trying to one-up each other because they're fighting for that one promotion that the bosses hand out every 5 years, right? In your personal life, an example like that looks like when you are a part of a toxic culture in your home, you and your spouse are always arguing. You're not talking to each other to be experienced or heard or valued or seen or nourished. You're talking to talk at one another because you want to one-up one another. You want to make your point and you don't give a damn what they're trying to say. Your needs matter and fuck them in the middle, right? Think about that in your life. If you look at your professional space, whether you are the boss or somebody else is the boss, if you look at that in your personal space, what does that look like for you? I know for me, when I really started to consider this, I realized that behind the scenes, I was attempting to create the culture that I wanted. I really was. I've been intentional about this for years in business. I was not always as conscious or intentional about it in my personal space. The biggest issue, though, was I was always fighting myself on my intuition because I would feel led or guided to do this thing. I would have this thought and I would just feel it every part of my body like this. Yes, I got to do this. This is what needs attention. But then I would fight myself on it because, well, that's not the conventional wisdom, or everybody else is saying they're doing it this way or it needs to look this way. No, don't do that. It's got to be this, not that. And so I was constantly at war with myself. And I ain't gonna lie to you, y'all. It's caused a lot of unnecessary changes, a lot of delays and struggles. But we all have our journey, right? And that's why I'm honestly committing to this, because I want to share with you all what this has looked like for me as I've walked it for the past few years, as I've really just gotten intentional about digging deeper into this and asking myself the why questions, the how questions, the what questions, the who questions, the when questions, the where questions, all the questions. I want to share what this has looked like as I've implemented it, as I've nourished myself in this, as I've shared it behind the scenes with others, and the drastic turnarounds that we've experienced. And I believe it could do the same thing for you. Like, y'all, listen, I'm a whole Sagittarius. Y'all know we bold as fuck. And so I finally decided to just give myself permission. I've been in this stage for about 10 years. I reveal a part of myself, then I reveal another part of myself. You know, layers. We're all multi-layered and multifaceted. And so now this is the next layer. And I've just decided to be bold about this. Doesn't matter who else agrees or doesn't agree. This is what I believe. And I really believe it's going to help a lot of people. So you all get to go on this journey with me. And my hope is that you will start to share with me how it is impacting you. And that gives me even more awareness of what I need to talk about for you to really integrate this and implement this in your daily lives. Okay? Because I am passionate about this. I'm fire. Y'all know we rage. Fire burns. Fire destroys. But fire also heals. Fire also nourishes. And that's actually a big part of the change from why the business is changing from I Am Healing One to Calcinatio. A lot of people were confused when I started talking about it recently. Like, well, why? You've had this brand for so long. This is how people know you. You're going to lose traction. And that may be true. Some people may not agree with it. Some people may not rock with it. And that's okay. That just means they're not my people right now. Or maybe our time is up and our season has been served. But the people I'm really talking to get it. The person that's really meant to be in my space personally or professionally gets it. My friends, first they were like, huh? Now they like, let's go. As I've been talking about it more, especially on Facebook, because that's just, where I hang out. More and more people are starting to realize, oh, okay, it's starting to click. Those light bulbs are turning on. And so wherever you're listening to this video, my intention for you is that this will inspire you to figure out where in your life you want to be more intentional, whether it's with your healing or your finances, your mental, emotional well-being, whether it's in your job or your business, whatever that looks like for you. How can you show up even more intentionally as you? Because that's really what intention and culture are about. The more you that you are, the more life shows up to meet you, the more spirit shows up to meet you, the more the things that you desire are served up on a silver platter, the more what you ask for and what you pray for and what you meditate on begins to make itself available. The more you show up intentionally for other people and the world literally looks like it starts to bend at your will. The more you wake up and because you thought it, 30 minutes later, you're getting that phone call or that email or the next day or the next week or the next month. Everything that you needed comes into place to take a leap of faith. Whatever it is that you need for this to do, I believe that it can. Now, I'm not saying that life is going to be perfect because, listen, we on a floating rock in the middle of space, y'all. Life ain't going to never be perfect. It's a whole crapshoot every single day. But I really believe that this culture and intention and culture allows you to tune in such a different way that life begins to conspire for you instead of you feeling like life is conspiring against you. Does that make sense, y'all? I really want you to think about that and tell me what you think. What comes up for you when you think about that? Is life conspiring for you, or do you feel like life is conspiring against you? Now, with all of that being said, what I want you to do for me, because there's always an ask. Look, come on now. I got a whole business. What I want you to do for me is click those buttons. If this video made sense to you, if there's something that gave you an aha moment or just made you say, listen, I'm with you when you're right. Even if you disagree, tell me what you think. Hit those buttons and subscribe on whatever platform you're connected to me on. Hit those buttons and like. Hit those buttons and share and invite the people that you love into the conversation. Because y'all done heard me say it and I'm going to say it again. If you ain't sharing, I don't think you really like them. Because we share the things that make a difference for us. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my walk. Get me some me time with me in spirit and my peoples. I love you all. Thank you for being a part of my community as it's changing. And let me know what you want to hear me talk about next.